Hey, solos, I have a wonderful conversation for you today. Hi, everyone. It's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do. And welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its third year. So, I have this wonderful conversation for you today that I had with Randy Haveson. He is a former cast member, a former greeter at the Grand Floridian, a former driver, pilot of the monorail. I'm actually not quite sure what the right word is. He's also a life coach and an author, a motivational speaker. He's done stuff in Toronto, which was kind of a fun connection. But we had this great conversation about obviously how great it is to go to Disney solo and some other like tips and tricks that he shares as a Disney cast member, but also like the importance of that sense of play that comes from just like integrating this sense of fun and the sense of gratitude into your life, and that can come from your Disney fandom when you're in the parks and that you can take kind of out of the parks as well. And it was just such a fun and motivational talk, and obviously you can get his links and all his contact information down below in the description if you're interested in talking with him more about his experiences and and about his writing, and maybe like he can even like work with you if you were interested in that. Okay, so my links are also below to social media. I haven't been on social media too much the last couple weeks because I have been traveling, not to Disney, unfortunately. But anyway, they are there and you can come and follow me. There's also a Patreon with reflections, and you also get to watch our conversations if you're a paid Patreon member. I think that's it. That's just a quick introduction for today. I cannot believe we're in June. Let's get into it. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Randy, to the Disney Solo Magic Podcast, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. I'm so excited to talk with you today about Disneyland, Disney World, about like the life coaching work that you do, about your experience as a cast member, about like just wanting to like play as an adult and how important that is. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Could you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Randy Haveson. I am an avid Disney fan and have loved it for many, many years. Growing up in California, I grew up going to Disneyland. So it's great. And then when we moved to Orlando and I got to really experience Disney World, my life changed. But thank you so much for having me. I am so excited when I found out this is about solo travelers. One of my favorite things to do is go to Disney by myself. So I'm looking forward to talking about that.
I am so looking forward to talking with you as well. I think that there is just something about going to Disney solo that if you don't get it, you don't get it. But when you do, it's just like chef's kiss. Can you tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about like what that is like for you going solo?
Yeah. The thing that I really love about that is I can go where I want to go, eat where I want to eat, stand in a line for 2 hours if I want to. And I love talking. I'm very extroverted. So I love talking to the people in line with me, uh, having that experience. If I want to sit and look at the ducks for an hour, I can. And no one's saying, can we go yet? So it's a completely different experience. And I've had some amazing adventures being on my own. Like I would go to the concerts at Epcot during
Yes.
Flower and Garden. And when you're by yourself, I mean, I would sit in the first couple rows because I was go talk to the cast member and say, when do you open it up to everybody else? Say, I'll let you know. Sit right there and I'll let you know. And then she'll motion to me and I get to go sit in the first couple rows. And when you're with other people, you don't get to have that experience. So going by myself is a lot of fun.
Well, I always say, like, it's just like this one tiny little body that's just like, let me just go sit here. Let me just go here. Like, it's a lot easier for someone to accommodate that than like, we have these 7 people. We have these 4 people and 3 children. Like, it's just, oh,
Mhm.
it's just little old me. Like, who's going to even notice? What concerts have you
Yeah.
seen at Epcot?
Oh, one of my favorites was Don Henley from the Eagles.
Nice.
And I
Nice.
sat in the second row and he played his whole set was Eagle songs. And
Wow.
he ended playing a double neck guitar doing Hotel California.
Wow.
Oh, I have a video. It was just amazing. And yeah, if I was with other people, I'd probably be closer to the back. I don't know if they would have let me up there, So being able to be right there was really cool.
I've gone to some of the Garden Rocks concerts, the
Hmm.
same ones. And one time I went with my mom and I said, like, you're going to have to be careful about the dancing. And she's like, you can't just get up and dance because we got the meal plan. So we were sitting in those first couple rows
Hmm.
too. And she's like, okay, okay. And then I realized I am my mother's daughter and I wanted to get up and dance and she didn't. And I was like, oh, so I've gone by myself more. And yeah, like I'm up dancing and it's like, this is why you're here, right? To be able to
Yes,
experience these things. And when you go with others, like all of a sudden a new culture kind of gets created just amongst this small group. And so you can just appreciate for what you're there for.
absolutely. And I'm the kind of person, if I want to dance, I'm going to get up and dance.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
so
I just
awesome.
love getting into that whole atmosphere and that whole environment and just letting my inner child, my inner kid, my 7-year old come out and just play.
Yeah, yeah. And that's so important because there's so few opportunities for adults to really choose to do that.
Absolutely. And Disney is like the perfect place to do that. I mean, I go to movies alone, I'll go eat alone. I was a professional speaker for a couple decades. So I got used to traveling alone, eating alone. And I realized that I really like my own company. And I enjoy the company of others, but I definitely enjoy my own company. If it's just me, I'll go do it. Like when I went up to Seneca College, I told them I'm a huge hockey fan. So I went to the Hockey Hall of Fame and it was amazing. She said, "Yeah, most people spend 2 hours there." I was there for 4 hours
That's
and then
amazing.
went to a Maple Leafs game that night. I mean, so when you get comfortable enough with yourself, it opens a whole new world to you. And Disney's the perfect place to do that and explore with that.
Yes. And for those of you who didn't pick up when he said Maple Leafs, Seneca College and Hockey Hall of Fame was a little callback to Toronto, where I am. And it's amazing how many things open up for you when you aren't waiting for others to do. I mean, even the notion of going to Disney yourself. A lot of people are like, "Ooh, is that weird?" But the thing is, like, some people might feel awkward eating alone in, like, quote unquote the real world, but it's so good to practice getting to know yourself at Disney as well, because it is such an environment of no judgment.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the beautiful parts about it. You can just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wear different colored socks and Mickey ears and, you know, whatever you want. And it's all accepted. One of the things I really loved when I was there is they added the fifth key for cast members, which was inclusion,
Mm-hmm.
which was great. When I first got hired, it was you had to have the Disney look and be a certain way. But after COVID, they came up with inclusion, and it was awesome watching people just come into their own and be whoever they wanted to be. It was wonderful. It was a great change that Disney did in adding that fifth key.
And the thing is, too, it like allows for so much more creativity. Like I did a Keys to the Kingdom tour in which they talked about that because of that fifth key, they rather than have like male and female uniforms, they have like costume A top, costume B bottom, and that you can switch as much as you want. And I think that notion of allowing cast members, because like I know you were a cast member, we'll talk about that in a second, but like we all love cast members on this podcast. Like to know that like the cast members are able to be themselves as well is so much, so exciting for people that might not feel completely comfortable in the real world to display certain aspects of their identity out in public like that. But Disney is a place to do that.
Absolutely. And you know what? That brings up a good point. One of the other things I love when I go to Disney alone, I love to spend time talking to cast members.
Mm,
And I'll say things like, "Tell me about your favorite magical moment with a guest." And to watch them light up, "Oh my God, they're asking about me." It's so cool to be able to do that. And you hear some wonderful stories, especially when you go to Epcot to the different countries and
yeah.
you talk to people from different places around the world about their experience being there. It's just so awesome to just talk to them about what it's like being a cast member.
Well, one of the things that comes up over and over in the podcast is like you might go to Disney solo, but you're not really by yourself. And
Mhm.
if you're open to it, cast members in particular really want you to have such an amazing time that they will talk to you. They'll tell you all this extra stuff, especially as an adult. They're like, "Oh, would you like to know trivia?" Like, please let us share this with you.
And here's another little tip for solo travelers that I
Yes.
love doing. I'll go talk to the cast. I'll wait until there's no one in the fast pass line, and I'll go and I'll talk to the cast member and say, "Hey, is it okay? I'm by myself. Can I just jump in line here?" And 80% of the time, yeah, go ahead. Here, let me have your thing. And they put me into the queue. And Flight of Passage, um, what's the new, I forgot what the one, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride
Yep.
at Epcot.
Cosmic Rewind.
Yes. And cast members are pretty cool about that when you're by yourself. Again, when it's 8 people, no way.
Yeah.
When it's 4 people, usually it's not going to happen. But by yourself, you can get away with a lot more.
And it's also just being respectful. I say this on the podcast, like, ask for what you want. Like, don't be
Hmm.
entitled. Don't think you're going to get pixie dust just for the
Yes.
sake of it. But, like, if you got a meal and it didn't turn out that great or you didn't like it and you thought you would, like, cast members are there for you to have a good time. Just
Mhm.
ask for what you want and, like, no entitlement. But you will be surprised how much they are willing to ensure that you have a wonderful time.
Absolutely. Like one
Yeah.
of my favorite things at the Suli Cantina in Pandora,
Yep.
I love the chips. So whenever I order my bowl, I always say, "Hey, can I get a few extra chips?" Every single time, sure. And they go give me a few extra chips.
Yeah.
So cast members want to make the experience magical for you.
Yeah. I was at Animal Kingdom Lodge, their quick service. It's one of my favorite quick service. And I was like, I love this bowl so much. I think about it all the time. And like, I got more food there. I mean, I was going to say that I could possibly eat. No, no, I ate it all. But I was able to just like leisurely eat by the pool for like an hour. And it was just wonderful. So
Oh, yeah.
you were a cast member. So what are some of your favorite magical moments?
Oh, well, my ultimate magical moment was after the pandemic. I went back to Disney and I was looking for all the different jobs, and there was an opening on the monorail team. So I joined the monorail team and I actually worked my way up, and I piloted the monorail. I am a monorail pilot. I got to drive the monorail
Gosh.
on the Epcot line. And with that little 7-year-old inside of me was like, oh my God, as I'm pushing the throttle forward. And it was probably one of the top 5 moments of my life, being able to drive the monorail. That was just amazing. But I found that they weren't, I used to get in trouble because I'd be talking to guests and like, Randy, we got to keep moving people onto the train. I'm like, but they're really cool. I like talking to them. So I would get in trouble for doing that. So I talked to casting and I said, what's a role that is all about guest interactions? And they said, well, the number one is the greeter at the deluxe resorts. And I said, oh, I want to do that. She said, well, those are really difficult to come by. And I said, okay, well, let me know if one comes up. She called me the next day and
Wow.
said, just want to let you know, one just opened up, the greeter at the Grand Floridian. I was like, what? Like that little guy, Richard, who used to be there, I get to be in that costume. I get to be the greeter at the Grand. So I took the job. And I had so much fun interacting with the guests, and I made up a little birthday song and anniversaries. I mean, it was just magical. I
Yeah.
loved going to work when I got to work there.
That's so awesome. So, from a cast perspective, then, like when you see adults who are there, whether they're solo or not, like what is your impression? So, I spoke to a cast member who was friends with a mouse character,
Mhm.
which I actually thought was like the mice in Cinderella until she showed me her tattoo, and then I felt very stupid. But be that as it may. And she was like, we really love to see adults, especially solo adults, because like
because they are choosing this as their joy. So, what was your experience seeing and interacting with adults who were traveling to Disney, whether they were solo or not?
My goal, what I used to say is if I can make them smile, great. If I can make them laugh, that's even better. If I can inspire them, that's where the magic happens.
Mm,
So whether they were alone or whether they were with other people, I would do my best to kind of read what was going on and to interact in a way that just rose that experience for them to another level. And
mm,
I mean, one of my favorite stories is I saw a mom, dad, and a little boy, like 10 years old, walking up the Grand Porte-Cochere with their luggage. And I said, "Welcome to the Grand. Have you been here before?" And they said, "No, we've never been here." And I said to the little boy, I said, "Do you know that we have two pools and a water slide? You're going to have so much fun here." And he got this big smile on his face. And I'm like, "I can't wait to hear about your adventures. Let me show you where the front desk is." And I took him inside, handed him off to the front desk team. The next day, the mom comes out to me and she says, "I just want you to know I gave you a cast compliment." I'm like, "Oh, thank you for that." She said, "No, no, no, you don't understand. Our son is autistic. And yesterday, when you were interacting with him, that was the first time he smiled all day." And I thought, wow,
wow.
that, so you never know who the guest is. So to get in there and make a little bit more magic for them, that's what I just love to do. And
Mm-hmm,
I would
mm-hmm.
do that with cast members when I was just at the park, or I'd see someone with the birthday button. It's just, Disney is magical. And when you get
Yeah.
to be a part of that and add to that magic, it enhances who you are.
Yeah, I love that you say that because I also think that it really enhances the notion of like I mean community isn't really the right word, but like I'm going to use it anyway, like community connections as well. Like I'm also an extrovert. I also have no problem talking to strangers, but there is something about all of us like being here together to be like
Mhm.
let's have a great time. Like that's amazing. Happy birthday. I'm glad you're celebrating. And like you know that you're going to get that back with cast members. And you don't always know if you're going to get that back with guests as a guest myself, right? So it's really so special that you are like, right, I can practice this joy. I can practice these skills and like feel these feelings at a place like this.
Yeah, it's like a place where you can practice just being open with who you are and what you're feeling. And
Yeah.
then hopefully, and part of my work is to help people take that into their regular life as well,
Yeah.
and to just play and just be who you are without worrying about what are other people going to think. Oh, that drives me crazy. So
Yeah.
just be genuine to who you are.
Do you have an example, and not to put you on the spot, but like, do you have an example of like ways that you or maybe ways somebody else has been able to translate like this sense of play and joy that they experience at Disney outside the parks as well?
Let's use my girlfriend as an example.
Okay.
When we started dating, and I was, I have Disney stuff all over my place and I wear a lot of Disney t-shirts,
Festival
and
of the
she's like,
Arts
"Wow,
t-shirt repping. Yep.
uh-huh." And she said, "Wow, you're really into Disney." I'm like, "Yeah, it allows my inner child to come out," and gave her the whole spiel. And she said, "You're a Disney adult." I'm like, "I didn't even know that was a term." Okay. And I took her, we went to Disneyland for the first time, and she was like, "Oh, now I see what you're talking about."
Yeah.
And we play. I mean, it's so great the way that we interact with each other and do our own thing, but just that our level of play just rose to another level.
I love that. I love that so much. Last year, I didn't go to the Festival of the Arts and I regretted it.
Mm.
And I was like, what is it about the Festival of the Arts, for example, that I really love, right? Like, yes, the food and the art and all of that stuff. So I was like, let's just try to recreate some of that at home. And it's like nice also just to have a model of what that looks like and to know like your body like knows that that is possible because you've gone to Disney in the past. And so I
Mhm.
love that story because I assume that, like, yes, when she got it, quote unquote, when she got it at Disney, then it was like, well, we can now bring this sense of play to like other parts of our lives because we like know how it can exist in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to live your life this way is, God, I watch so many people walking around miserable in their work life, in their home life, and, standing in line at the grocery store, and they just look so like, remember Pigpen and the Peanuts cartoons? The cloud is
Mm-hmm.
all around him. I mean, there are so many people walking around with that cloud, especially now.
Yeah.
And to be able to bring some joy into this and being that antidote for, all that other stuff, bring that energy in to say, hey, life is not all doom and gloom and negative. There's joy to be found. And when you can help people find their own joy, whatever that is, that just is so fulfilling.
Mm. What would be a really joyful solo day for you at the parks, whether it's Disneyland or a park at Disney World?
It's funny, people would ask me all the time, what's your favorite park? And I say, it depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in a Hollywood Studios mood. Sometimes I'm in an Animal Kingdom mood. It really depends. But to me, there's something really special about walking into the park and you hear the music and you see the people and you enter a new world. And each one has its own personality. I noticed years ago how when you go from one place to the next, the music changes, the landscaping changes, the trash cans change, everything shifts. And it's just so magical, is the word to use. And to
Mm-hmm.
be in that world, and each one has a different personality, and I love exploring all of them. So it really depends on my mood and
Yeah.
what I want to do. But I don't think one is better than another. Um, I don't, people like rank the parks. No, how do you do that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said like Magic Kingdom is my favorite park because like OVS, it's the OG, but I will go to Disney for Epcot because of the festivals and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And so my the trip that I have in April, I was like, I really miss Magic Kingdom. Like it was interesting this particular type of like yearning for the experiences at these other parks. As I've lamented on the podcast many a time this year, I don't have an annual pass this year, which I'm totally fine with, obviously. And so I haven't been able to just like pop into the parks, but I have found that you're right. It has so much to do with like how you're feeling and like what feelings get created through you being in the parks. And sometimes you want that. Like sometimes you want to sit in Animal Kingdom and just like hear all of these animals around you, which I learned when I was recording a podcast episode there, and I was trying to find a place that was going to be a little bit quieter to record, and I realized I was getting closer to the animal noises, and then I was like, oh, they're from a speaker in the trees.
Oh, funny.
And so I was like, that's okay. I'm okay if it's artificial. We know it's artificial, but the feelings are so real.
Yeah. Oh, especially like when you go from Africa to Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that one part where you cross the bridge and all of a sudden you hear all the animals and the insects and everything shifts. It's so cool how they do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're not going to ask you to rank the parks, but like, do you have favorite, a ride that you really love to do solo?
Oh,
You mentioned Sutili's Canteen, but like, is there other things that you really just like love to get to eat when you're there solo?
um, at Animal Kingdom, yeah, Suli Cantina is
Uh-huh.
my favorite go-to spot. I also prefer the soft serve ice cream as you're going towards Everest,
Uh-huh.
much more than the one that used to be a dinosaur.
Okay.
One time I got it at Dinosaur and it was like this little tiny cone. I'm like, that's not, no. Do you know how they serve ice cream over there at the cart in Asia?
Yeah.
And I went over and I got a cone at Asia and it's like piled on top of the cone. I brought it back to Dinosaur. I said, this is a soft serve cone.
It's so funny because I ordered, I think, in that dinosaur one once, and I was just too hot. I couldn't use my words, and I didn't want a lot because I was going to melt. So I literally just gestured. So those of you who are watching on Patreon, I just gestured with my hands. I was like, like do do do, not like do 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 do. They were like, okay, lady. But then I saw that they communicated that same like do 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 the
Oh,
cast
that's
member
so
too, and I was
funny.
like, thank you for not making me feel foolish for
They know how to translate.
That's right. Those translations, yes. So,
That's funny.
other things that you like to eat solo.
Oh, let's see. At Epcot, I the Living Seas. Love the
Mm.
restaurant there. So
Oh,
good.
not many
Yeah.
people say that. I
Really?
love that that's your, one of the things that comes to mind off the top of your head.
Yeah. Oh, I was there years ago, and the special of the night was piranha.
Oh,
So I ordered it, and it came whole. It's like the head and the teeth were there, and
yeah.
like the meat off of it. It was one of the best tasting fishes I've ever had in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I think my ultimate all-time favorite meal at Disney is the Eggs Benedict at the Grand Floridian Cafe.
Mm.
Oh, the Grand Cafe. That's one thing that I miss more than anything else. And sometimes they'll have lobster Benedict or a Florentine, but I don't know what they do with that hollandaise sauce. And I've asked them. I used to work there. It's like, what do you do? They're like, yeah, we make it fresh here, and we're not going to tell you. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, but it's just amazing. So that's probably my very favorite meal at Disney.
Yeah. It's so interesting because there are so many people who like don't really get Disney that are like, what do you mean the food is good? Like, what do you mean go to the hotels to eat?
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, especially as an adult, we talk on the podcast a lot about going to the lounges, right? To be able to try
Yep.
these restaurants, these sit down restaurants, signature restaurants. And it's always so wonderful to be like, yeah, the food is amazing. And again, the risk is so low that if you don't like it, maybe they can do something about it, but it's a great opportunity to try something new. And when you're there solo, I don't know, sometimes it's easier to try something new because you're not with someone that's like, "Oh, don't you usually just get the chicken fingers?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another hidden gem that I found is at
Yeah.
the Coronado Hotel, the Maya Grill.
Uh-huh.
It's Mexican food. Their guacamole, oh, so good. And they make their
Awesome.
own chips there too. And
Cool.
I found it, and I used to go there a lot. It's really, really good.
Well, Maya Grill often gets kind of like forgotten about at Coronado because there's so many options
Yeah.
for eating.
Mhm.
And it is a really great hidden gem. And I'm pretty sure it's the same company that does the Mexican food at Epcot too.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay,
So,
nice to know. Yeah,
yeah. So if you're not going to Epcot one day, but you're still looking for Mexican, that's a good place to try.
yeah. And you can always find a reservation there.
Yes.
So that's a
Yes.
good thing too. And if you don't find one, just show up. And I've never waited for a table.
No, and I was gonna say sometimes it's hard to get a reservation for one at the Grand Floridian Cafe, but if you show up, it's usually not a big deal. It's
Exactly.
just the computer system that's not
Mhm.
showing you the tables, but the tables are there in person.
Exactly. And again, go to the cast member. And like you said, don't go in with entitlement. Go in with, hey, is there any way? I'm really hungry. I heard this thing on this podcast that you have amazing eggs Benedict, and I really want to try. Is there any way you could squeeze me in? And 90% of the time they will.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
people who work at the Grand Cafe, I miss them so much. Yeah,
yeah.
they're great. And even if you have a little bit of a wait, go walk around the lobby of the Grand. I mean,
Have you
yeah.
seen the new bar?
Oh, that's in the lobby?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh my God, we get to talk about that. Are you ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so I was doing my greeter thing, and I saw some people in the lobby with suits, and one person had a clipboard. And I walked up to them and I said, "Are you working on the redesign of the lobby?" And they looked at me, they're like, "Yeah." I said, "I have an idea that I want to give you." And they're like, okay, because they're like corporate suits.
Yeah,
And I said, in the morning, a lot of people come up to me and they're like, where can I get a cup of coffee? And I have to send them all the way over to Gasparilla to get it. If you had something in the lobby that served coffee in the morning, wine in the afternoon while people are listening to the piano and doing that, if you had something here where people could get that here, I think it would be not only a great revenue source, but a really nice addition. And I watched the person with the clipboard making extensive notes. And a couple months after that, someone came up to me and said, hey, that idea you had, I think we're going to do it. I was like, oh, will you call it Randy's Bar? He said, no, we're not going to do that.
Fits right
So,
into the aesthetic.
yeah. So I was so thrilled when I found out that they were going to do it. I haven't seen it yet, but I am so excited to go back there.
Well, that's awesome. I haven't heard anything about them doing coffee in the morning, though.
They don't do that yet?
I don't think so. No, I haven't heard
Oh,
anything about that.
okay.
They
I'm gonna
might
have
they
to.
might have
I'll
thought that
send
it
an
would
email.
be too much like congestion in the morning or like too many like spilled coffees on the rug.
Maybe. No,
But the
those rugs are made to absorb whatever hits them.
Yeah, but it looks great actually. Like it doesn't look like it doesn't belong there. It doesn't look like it took something that should have been there, and they did a really and it also didn't look like they cheaped out, which
Yeah.
people are always worried about. It looks really great. So, well, thanks for having that suggestion.
No, I was really thrilled when I found out they were going to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really wanted them to call it Randy's Bar, but no, oh
It's
well.
surprising because it really just goes right. It like flows with Grand Floridian so much. Yeah. What's here? The Enchanted Rose, Citricose, and Randy's Bar.
Yeah, hey, doesn't yeah, that flows.
Gasparilla Grill, Randy's Bar.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, probably not. But I missed the bird cage. I thought that was just such a great thing to have in the lobby because
Yeah,
they took
it's
that out, didn't they?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's where the bar is
Yeah.
in that area.
Yeah. But yeah, it
Yeah,
looks really great. It was really a pleasure to see because I thought I was like, oh, I'm gonna really miss what was there, and no, it looked really great. So that was awesome.
yeah. Oh, people would come up all the time. Oh, they better not change this and they better not. But Disney does such a great job of renovating. And Walt's thing was it's always evolving, it's always
Yeah.
changing, it's never
Yeah.
done. So it's about accepting the new. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how about favorite ride or attraction to do solo?
Absolute favorite ride of all times. I would go on it all day long. Flight of Passage.
Oh, wow.
There is nothing like that ride. I just love it. So I never get tired of it.
Is it a different experience for you when you do it solo?
I remember one time I was solo and the people behind me, I said, have you been on this ride before? And she said, no, we've never been on this. I said, you are in for such a treat. This ride, I'm a cast member and this is like my favorite ride of all the parks. Really? Wow. Okay, you're hyping it up pretty much. I'm like, oh, don't worry. And I got to be next to them in the ride. And afterwards, I said, "Well," she went, "Oh my God, you were
Wow.
so right." So even when I'm solo, I find my way to.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the kind of thing I love sharing the experience with other people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so what's your experience like going to the parks solo in particular, just like as an adult at Disneyland and Disney World? And I wonder if like when you were a cast member, I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but a lot of people say I like to go to Disney World to like escape my work, you know, or like have a place where I don't need to be like the person that I am at work. And so could you
Mhm.
talk a little bit maybe about that experience for you since it was your work?
Yeah. But I take this into everything that I do. I mean, when I was
Mm,
a speaker, now as an author, I mean, I attempt to put the magic into the books that I write and into the consulting and the speaking and the coaching that I do. My coaching is around self-esteem and helping people feel better about who they are and where they fit in the world and to not forget that the magic exists and how to
mhm.
find their own magic, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether they're in traffic, wherever it is to be able to find that magic somewhere. So, yeah.
How do you think a place like Disney World might support that? I mean, it is, obviously they're magical places to begin with, but sometimes when you get so mired in your own, if so many things aren't going right? It might seem like Disney is a place of like that toxic positivity, right? And like, magic for the sake of magic, but you can be a cynic. Like how could you might pull out some Disney learnings for people who are just kind of so mired, like I said, in what's happening in their lives in a way that's hard for them to navigate out, even if Disney, so many of us know that Disney is a way that helps us.
Here's the key. I'm glad you asked that because here is the key on how to do that. The number one thing that I feel when I go to Disney, whether it's alone with other people, whether I'm there for an hour or 5 days, there's this sense of gratitude.
Mm,
Wow, I get to be here. This is so amazing. What kind of adventure am I going to have today?
mm-hmm,
And I take that gratitude into everything I do. So when I have a quote bad day, I always think if this is the worst thing that happens today, it's a good day.
mm,
And when I get, I don't do this anymore. I don't get mired with a lot of negative thoughts because I quickly just move to what are three things I can be grateful for? What's something I can
mm,
be grateful for right now? When if I remember times bills are piling up and what am I going to do and how am I going to make this happen and my head would just take off with that. But then I just sit and play with my dog for 10 minutes and all of a sudden it doesn't seem so bad.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
there are things that people can do in order to get out of that mindset of the negative and just find that one thing to be grateful for, find that one thing that brings a moment of joy and happiness, and just settle into that.
That's great. That's great.
But
I like
gratitude is the key.
I like how you said like, oh, just find three things to be grateful for. Could we just like do a quick role play? Like, let's say you were a cynic and you were going to Hollywood studios and you're like, no, magic doesn't exist. My job sucks. Blah 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 blah. What are like three things that you could look around and be like, look at these things to be grateful for?
I would say, did you notice when we went from this place to this place, the music changed? Did you notice that? Oh, wow, no, I didn't. Did you notice the trash cans changed? Now look at the costumes of the cast members and just help them to see those little details that make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure for your listeners, the people who've been doing this for a long time, you see Disney from a different perspective. You see those details. And that's what makes it even more magical
Mm-hmm.
is every single thing is intentional. Every plant was put exactly there for a reason. And when you can see that and point it out to other people, that makes it even more magical.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
we did an episode around Valentine's Day about like acts of self love or like the five love languages and self love at Disney. And, we talked about acts of service. And it's like, for me, one of the things I thought of when you were saying, like, oh, tell a person to like look at the costumes and the things that changes. It's like all of those things were created for you to have these immersive experiences and like, that and like you can see all those things as these acts of service for you and be so grateful that you get to be at this place to like have that service of
Exactly.
having someone put so much imagineering thought into your trip.
Hmm. Yeah. And little details, I don't know if your listeners have noticed this or not. I found this out. Oh, I was able to go on the Galactic Star Cruiser, the
Uh-huh.
Halcyon, and I
Yeah.
had that Star Wars experience, which blew me away. And I found out that as you go into Galaxy's Edge from Toy Story Land, Pixar, and you walk through, there's a big crater off to the right. And then as you walk in farther, up on the wall is a droid. One of the droids from Empire Strikes Back is in a net on the wall. And most people just walk right by, they don't know. But in Empire Strikes Back, the droids were released from the ships to find Luke. And at Galaxy's Edge, they had the crater, and the droid was looking around. And the whole story behind Galaxy's Edge, Oga used to run Galaxy's Edge, and it was the smuggling mecca for the galaxy. And she ran it with her number one person, Hondo. And then the First Order came in and said, "We're going to take over." And Oga's like, "No, you won't." And she called the resistance and said, "Come on, you need to take over so that we have this battle between First Order and the resistance." And that's how it all started. And the First Order sent the droid, and Oga caught the droid, put it on the wall, and said, "Don't mess with me."
Mm,
So that story is one of the things most people just walk right by and they don't know. But
yeah.
that crater probably costs $100,000 to put in there. But Disney did that, even though most people were going to walk by, just to add to the story of Galaxy's Edge.
Mhm.
It's just so cool how they do all these different things there.
Yeah, and it's so cool to like appreciate the story of it all because everyone has their own stories and it's
Mhm.
easy to get weighed down by your stories sometimes. But to like
Yes.
be able to see it as an arc in a larger kind of play of all these different stories and you can really appreciate that when you're at a place like Disney World.
Oh, absolutely. And to be able to take that into your real life too, and be able to apply those same principles, that's where the magic really happens. And you're right, it's about service and it's about gratitude and finding ways to do that, and happiness just follows.
Yeah. And so you help people have these, have these conversations, have these like, try to change the ways that they're thinking in ways that allow them to really appreciate what they have and to be able to find more play. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I've had quite the life.
Mm,
And I am very grateful for everything that's happened in my life. And it started with me having very low self esteem, very
mm,
big ego. Look at me, which was the shield to keep people from seeing that I really felt like I was inadequate. And as I started doing my own work and realized that ego and self esteem are actually opposites on a continuum, they're not related to each other, I started to learn tools on how to build self esteem and let go of ego in order to be happier. And I noticed that there were two voices in my head, there was the bully voice and the best friend voice.
mm,
And I would make a mistake or do something, and the bully, "I can't believe you did that. Oh, of course you did that. You're such a loser. You're so stupid. You're so," and just go at me. But what would my best friend say in that instance? "Randy, it's just a mistake. You're going to be okay. I still love you." So part of my work now is helping people move that around so that the megaphone is taken away from the bully voice and given to the best friend voice, so that that becomes the dominant voice in your head,
mm.
and you start treating yourself with more kindness, more grace, and you're able to see the world from a different perspective. And it's not all horrible and negative. There are some beautiful things out here. And when you can focus on that and put more attention on what's going well and who you are as a person, and doing a lot of personal growth work, it things just get brighter.
Mm, mm.
So that's what I love helping people do. And when I go to Disney, it's just letting that little kid out and play. And all of my daily troubles and all that, they stay at the gate. They don't
Yeah.
get to come in.
Yeah, and when you were saying too, like your best friend voice and your bully voice, that sometimes like changes in location, right, can like allow you to practice having
Mm.
one take a step back and one take a step forward. And I think that that can be, something that people can do on their Disney trips too.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Mm,
always find new experiences. A lot of people, it's like they go and they do the same thing every time. It's like, nah, do it backwards. Start where
yeah.
you usually end and do something that you've never done. One of my favorite rides, I did it one time and it's become one of my favorites, the People Mover.
Yep.
People are like, "Really? You want to go on the People Mover?" I'm like, "Yeah. Oh my God, it's so much fun. I love it." And number one, it's a really nice break. You're sitting down, and most of it, you're air conditioned. and it's fun to just be on that ride. And some people are like people mover. It's like, yeah, it's one of my favorites.
So I'm laughing because we did a March Madness bracket about the best rider attraction to do solo,
Mm,
and I didn't really vote in it. And People Mover came out on top. and,
really
and
nice.
then I asked friends of the podcast to send pictures of themselves on the People Mover, and I got all these pictures of people so
Oh,
happy. And a
so
lot of
cool.
people, when they do their solo stories, talk about the People Mover as their favorite. I don't like it. I don't really get why people like it. But it was so interesting in the that March Madness conversation because it is clearly such a good ride to do solo. It's
Hmm.
slow, it's contemplative. You get to really, see all of Tomorrowland and the castle, and it really just kind of encapsulates that ease, like you just said, that you can do solo that isn't really there for others. When
Hmm.
others are there, I mean.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this one came up, but Haunted Mansion
Yep.
solo is awesome, especially when you get to the hitchhiking ghosts. I remember the first time I did it after they did the renovation. I'm sitting in the middle of the doom buggy, and the ghost is sitting on top of the cart. He pulls his head off, pulls my head off, and switches them. And now my face is on the top of the doom buggy on this ghost, and the ghost head is on my body. And my face was, like, what? And it blew me away, the technology and the innovation to be able to do something like that. And if there were other people in the doom buggy with me, I don't know if that experience wouldn't have happened. It might have been another one, or I don't know. But just being able to do that by myself, that was so cool. I wish I had a picture of my face being on
Yeah,
top of
I
that.
know. That's the thing that happens to me every time. I can never get a picture, and then I'm just like, okay, it's just ghostly. So it's interesting because the Haunted Mansion, everybody, included me, wrote it down before we started the brackets,
Mm-hmm.
and as the one that we thought was going to win, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
win. But it was interesting because we all started with that one.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it is
So
funny.
People Mover, what was after People Mover?
Oh, it was Spaceship Earth versus People Mover.
Oh, love Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
And
and that's a good one solo also.
well, I mean, that's what they were saying. And I was like, it's interesting because they are very similar, right? They're both slow, they're both contemplative, they're both iconic to the parks.
Yeah, no, but what I like is I get to be the one to choose what the experience is at the end.
Yeah,
No one
yeah.
else is there. No, let's do this one. It's like, no, I get to do the one that I want. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about also being able to like practice any like high school French you have too, because you can change the language.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yep. Good
yeah.
point. Hmm.
Other winners, the Maharaja Jungle Trek for Animal Kingdom.
Oh, yes.
And then Star Tours was also really like a winner for Hollywood Studios.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
cool because like Star Wars is not really my thing. So, and People Mover is not my thing, but there were three people who we had the conversation with, and it was just really awesome to like hear all of them agree. And it's just interesting the types of like the similarities and differences between so many people's solo trips. And I think we're all yearning for both joy and calmness, especially in this crazy world. And it's really exciting that Disney is a place that can bring all of that.
Oh, yeah. It's the ultimate escape.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned
And
that
you know
you're an
what? Rise
author.
of the Resistance, too. I want to talk about Rise of the Resistance
Go
because
for
that's
it.
my favorite ride. That one's incredible. I mean, just the thought and the innovation of that one is phenomenal. So I'm sure that came up high in the list as well.
It certainly came up as a popular ride, but it was a good argument that it wasn't as great to do solo
Huh.
because when like you're in this world and it's nice to be with other people that are like, oh, look at we're in this world together. They're being mean to us together. So And then there's a single rider line. I don't know if you know that now. And
Mhm.
that cuts out some of that story that's happening in the queue. So we talked about like that as a good benefit, but that if you're there for like the story, not just in the ride, but
Mhm.
through the queue and all that stuff, that it's something that's good to experience with others too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love going alone. I love going with other people. But yeah, Rise, I just love that ride so much that I don't care if I'm with people or not. I'm going on it.
Yeah. Totally, totally. So you mentioned that you're an author and a
Yeah.
consultant. Can you talk a little bit more about your work and how people can get in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah. My book at present is called Becoming Your Own BFF
Mm.
because I want to teach people how to go from bully voice to best friend voice. But I'm attempting to, or I am going to, change the tone of the book. Right now, it's, hey, let's talk about changing the voice in your head. But what I realize is that a lot of people need a more direct approach. Hey, look, stop treating yourself that way. Look where it's getting you. Don't you think doing it differently? So I'm thinking about changing the title. I don't know if I can say this on your podcast or not. It's going to be called Stop Treating Yourself Like Shit.
Ah. Oh, because of the swearing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's
We're
okay.
good.
We did
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So that's going to be the new title. Right now on Amazon, it's Becoming Your Own BFF, but I'm going to rewrite it. But right now, I'm working on a book actually with my girlfriend.
Mm.
Um, she's a therapist and she does a lot of work with some high functioning, high powered people. And she did a workbook on perfectionism. And I do my work on self esteem. So I put it into the AI. I said, what would happen if you melded these together? And it was like, I think you're onto something here. So we are writing a book called Generational Perfectionism.
Wow.
Yeah. That the perfectionism that a lot of people tend to carry with them comes from our parents who put all these expectations on us. Don't get B's, you have to get A's. Don't come in second, you have to come in first. But they got it from their parents and their parents got it from their, so this is something that generationally has been affecting us. So the goal of this book is to help people heal through this, to break that cycle, and to not be angry with your parents but have some compassion for them, because that was the best that they could do growing up in the system they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Wounded people wound people.
Mm-hmm.
So generational perfection, it's probably going to come out later this year or beginning of next year. But people can get a hold of me through my website, randyhaveson.com. And I do coach. I'm not doing as much coaching right now, but if people are like, hey, I really want to work on my self-esteem and feel better, absolutely, I'll do that with people, especially Disney fans. Oh, because I use a lot of Disney analogies. So, because there's so much wisdom with Disney as well. So I like to relate back to movies, Dory, just keep swimming. I mean, come on. And Inside Out, there's so much wisdom there. So I use that a lot in my work. But yeah, I'll do some coaching, but Becoming Your Own BFF is the one that's out there, the most popular. And Generational Perfectionism is going to be coming out later this year.
That's so great. And I love how you already talked about this notion of like the bully voice and the BFF voice, and that if people are practicing that when they're on their trips to Disney, that like being able to get your book is a way to like open up that conversation for them even more, and to be able to do that thinking and do that practicing on their solo trips, which is great. And I'm sure it is great to do coaching with Disney fans, because then you don't need to explain who Dory is. you, you're just
Exactly.
like, we
That's
all understand these references. Is that correct? Correct.
absolutely. Yeah.
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 So your website is below for people to get in touch with you. Is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about? This has been so wonderful. Is there anything we didn't get a chance to talk about that I didn't ask you about that you want to make sure that people know about you or your Disney experience, Randy?
Um, just keep doing it. I watch so many
Mm,
people that get close to retirement age and they get bored. I
yeah.
have not been, when people say that I'm bored, there's always something to do. There's always something to keep you excited about the quality of your life. And Disney is just such a beautiful way to just keep playing and stay young.
Yeah.
I just had my 66th birthday
Wow.
and yeah,
Happy
and
birthday.
Thank you. And I feel like I'm more in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I started going to a naturopath doctor, and they said, "What's your goal for wanting to be healthy?" And I said, "My goal is I want to be 90 and be able to walk around Disney and still have a good time." So that's
Yes.
the goal. So if you're a fan of Disney, you're ahead of the curve when it comes to knowing how to play and have fun, and just don't stop. Just
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
doing it. It's so important, especially now.
And Disney is an expensive place. We all know that.
Mhm.
And I think that it's not just the travel. You can say get a goal like to save up a certain amount of money and do it in 5 years or whatever. But
Yeah.
then those 5 years, like, you can put your energy towards, like, when you're doing that extra job or whatever to save that money, to be like, "Oh, I'm doing it for Disney." And to do the research. Like, so many people talk about how much fun it is for certain of us that likes that stuff to do all the research and, like, what might this experience be like, and, like, don't over plan, but there's so many ways to, like, touch that magic of Disney before you can get to the parks.
hmm And
Mhm.
also, if you haven't been to the D23 Expo that they have out in California, I highly suggest that. It is so much fun. If you want a good, quick Disney fix, that's a great place to do it. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
I went the year that before they opened Pandora, and they had a Pandora exhibit. I stood in 45-minute line to get inside. And they had like things from the rides and the area. It was so cool. And I looked over in the corner, Joe Rody was there,
Wow.
just standing there in the corner watching the reaction on people's faces. And I walked up to Joe, "Hey, I'm a huge fan. I love what you did with the Lonnie Animal Kingdom. I'm so excited to see Pandora." He's like, "Oh, thank you." I said, "Can I get a picture with you?" He said, "Sure." And we got a picture with the Navi model that was there. So I have a
So
picture
cool.
with Joe Rody. He was
So
just hanging
cool.
out. So
So
you
cool.
never know what's going to happen when you throw yourself in. Just get
Yeah.
ready for the magic.
Yeah, I love that. What a great way to end. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to meet you, and maybe we'll see each other in the park someday.
That would be awesome.
So
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. I
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey Solos, it's Samantha. As we move into our third year of the podcast, please continue to support the podcast by liking, reviewing, subscribing on any and all of the platforms that this streams: Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Becoming a Patreon member is also an option and also just a wonderful way to support me and the podcast. Much appreciated to all the members, both free and paid. I can't wait to continue making content for you as we move into our third year.